Greetings, greetings. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Such an awful situation. I mean, it just really will burden your heart if you allow it. But once you heal, face reality, take it at face value. Don't mistake it for anything else. It's what I've always been taught. So I came on today to briefly speak about the conversation that Alvin and I once had about some murders that the feds had came to him about. And it kind of disturbed me for a minute. Mind you, this is back, Alvin's locked up in like 2010. And he's in jail from 2010, and then he dies in January of 2013. So he was there a total of 3 years. And upon this conversation about um, these murders that he was confronted about, he stated to me that he was not going to go down for anything that he did not do. And so, once again, I was in a position to, whereas, protect my children, protect my children. And I watched it play out. And upon watching it play out, Alvin dies while he's incarcerated um, in January 2013. And so I continue to watch things play out, and I continue to watch them play out. And then 3 years later, I saw activity with the person that he had named to me. And I won't, I'll just read you something. I won't go into details about me personally from my point of view. But I'm going to read you something from NOLA.com. It is dated June 8th, 2016. And I want you to see if you can come up with it, because I refuse to speak on anyone's name wrong. I'm not here for all of this. I'm just letting you know that how all of this aligns to me and how I have to protect my child, my children, by all means necessary, because anything that belongs to me is gifted, and it's you know it's mine, and I do not approve of it being taken from me in any way that is not of God. So I'll just read you something. So Alvin, this is back between 2010, well, 2000, between 2010 through 2013. He gets his sentence in, like, I think 2012 or something like that. Nevertheless, let me read you this. So this is Telly Hankton, federal jury hears accused drug pen's blood spattered resume. Okay. And I'll go on to read again. This is NOLA.com, so it's public information. Again, it was dated June 8, 2016 at 2:32 a.m. So, nearly 5 years have passed since Mayor Mitch Landrieu and the city's top law enforcement figures labeled Telly Hankton as New Orleans' most dangerous criminal. Anyone who has forgotten why needed only listen to the start of a federal racketeering trial for Hankton and three co defendants that began Tuesday, June 7th. It took U.S. Judge Martin Feldman nearly 90 minutes to finish reading aloud for jurors the 24-count indictment upon which Hankton, reputed hitman Walter Porter, cousin Andre Hankton, and associate Kevin Jackson have been brought for trial. The first racketeering count alone detailed 101 overt acts of crime and violence upon which prosecutors say Hankton built a $43 million narcotics empire from a Josephine Street sidewalk. While Feldman repeatedly cautioned jurors that indictment contained allegations yet unproven, prosecutors were more than happy to have the extensive preamble document serve as the blood spattered resume of the man that they described as a brutal and unrepentant Central City drug kingpin. You're going to be swamped with the depravity committed by this organization, Assistant U.S. Attorney Elizabeth Privatera promised jurors in her opening statement of an expected 3 week trial. The indictment in a lengthy diary of what these people did to control their drug distribution activities, their neighborhood, and even the criminal justice system so that they could operate without any fear. But the government's evidence is going to destroy the clean slate these four men sit here with today. Hankton, who turns 40, and this is what back then when the article was written, Hankton, who turns 40 this week and already is serving a life sentence for the 2008 murder of Darnell Stewart, sat stoically as the judge recited that killing and the other 100 overacts of which he and his associates are accused. Dressed in a light blue suit, white shirt, and dark blue tie, Hankton rarely moved his gaze from the judge. Okay, so then it goes through the Hankton timeline. A federal indictment read Tuesday, June 7th, alleges 101 overacts that Telly Hankton and his 12 accused co-conspirators committed to further their violent drug racket. Okay, and so they give some of the crucial allegations, and then it goes from 1994 to 1997. It says what happens, and then, Cousins and Telly Thomas Hankton began buying cocaine by the kilogram 1998 to 2003. Telly Hankton begins buying 5 to 6 kilos of cocaine every 2 weeks from a source in the New Orleans area. March 3rd, 1999, Derek Smothers and Terrell Smothers shoot TB within the territory of the Enterprise. May 22nd, 2000, Telly Hankton shoots at FH over missing money and drugs that he had been storing for him. FH, who appears to be Telly Hankton's cousin, Frank Hankton, blames his daughter. June 12, 2000, Venice Brazeley, the daughter of FH, is shot and killed along with Calvin Fox. January 15th, Telly Hankton shoots Brian Broussard and a known individual. November 17th, 2004, Telly Hankton shoots a known individual. April 7, 2005, George Jackson acts as an associate to kill Darnell Stewart. Telly Hankton gives a gun to associates while at his mother's house. Within minutes, the associates shoot Broussard, Stewart, and a known individual. April 12, 2007, Troy and Telly Hankton shoot at Stewart Jesse Reed, and they shoot a known individual. January 14, 2008, Telly Hankton shoots at Stewart and shoots Reed. May 13, 2008, Telly Hankton and Andre Hankton engaged in a gun battle with Stewart on Claiborne Avenue. Stewart crashes his car and flees on foot. Andre Hankton hits Stewart with his car. Telly Hankton shoots and kills Stewart. May 21st through June 2nd, 2008, FH, Shirley Hankton, and others used properties to secure a $1 million bond for Telly Hankton. March 27, 2009, Shirley Hankton gave MD $7,000 for a cashier's check to pay Telly Hankton's attorney. June 20th, 2009, Telly Hankton, Walter Porter, and Kevin Jackson shoot and kill Jesse Reed. Jackson pays Porter $10,000 or more for his help. July 4, 2009, Porter shoots and kills Hassan Williams and associate Reeds, who witnessed Reed's murder. Thomas Hankton pays Porter $10,000 or more. Late 2009, a Hankton associate being held in the Orleans Parish Jail along, listen, late 2009, a Hankton associate being held in the Orleans Parish Jail along with Telly Hankton calls Derek Smothers using a contraband cell phone and tells Smothers to kill John Matthews, a key witness to the Stewart murder. October 24, 2010, Porter shoots Matthews at his home in eastern New Orleans. Thomas Hankton pays him $10,000 or more. 2011, Natani Scheck-Snyder calls Danielle Hampton to ensure she met with Telly Hankton's attorney. Scheck-Snyder also pays Sunday Johnson to testify falsely at Hankton's murder trial. July 28, 2011, Hampton and Johnson perjured themselves at Hankton's trial. October 15, 2011, Porter shoots and kills Curtis Matthews, brother of John Matthews. November 3rd, 2011, Shirley Hankton lies to the grand jury. Porter, whom investigators said served as Hankton's go-to assassin, was far more animated as he sat at an adjacent defense table. As Telly Hankton's attorney, Deborah Sneed, suggested during her opening statement that her client was being unfairly prosecuted and smeared by association with a proven gun-toting gang associate such as Porter, the alleged hitman could not contain himself. "Objection, ma'am," Porter yelled, "because that's only what some people have said." Porter's attorneys, Robert Toole and Stephen Lemoyne, struggled to silence their client, and Feldman threatened to have him removed from the courtroom if he couldn't behave. Porter also is serving a life sentence after being convicted of the 2010 killing of Gretna's Christopher Smith in an unrelated case. To succeed with the racketeering counts, the government must convince jurors that the litany of alleged offenses by Hankton and his associates constitute a pattern of illegal behavior and acts aimed at furthering the growth and power of an organized criminal enterprise. The alleged acts include distribution of large quantities of cocaine powder, crack cocaine, heroin, and marijuana from 1996 to 2012. The murders or attempting murders of at least 7 people, including witnesses to killings and the relative of a witness who testified against Hankton, money laundering of drug proceeds, and suborning perjury to plant false alibis at trial. But Sneed suggested that federal prosecutors, FBI agents, and NOPD investigators have her client and his network of cousins and friends all wrong. They say his name in the indictment and list of overt acts over and over, trying to get you to think he must be some kind of monster, Sneed told jurors. But the government has to prove with evidence that Telly Hankton is the monster they claim. I'm not going to tell you Telly Hankton is a saint, but he is not a murderer. And it's not an organization, it's a family. Other members of the family, including Hankton's mother, Shirley, already have pleaded guilty to some charges in the indictment. These are the final four of 13. These are the final four of 13 defendants originally named when the indictment was handed up in 2012 and revised 2 years later. Privatera, who is prosecuting the case with William Quinlan Jr., David Hellier, and Brittany Reed promised that some of those closest, listen, they promised that some of those closest to Hankton and Porter would be among those testifying against the four defendants. This is an organization that killed or tried to kill witnesses, Privatera said. That thought that thought they would silence that thought that that thought they would silence the community. What they're going to see is that it is their community. It is their community. It is their community, their people. Their people. Their people coming forward. A lot of them have pled guilty, and they're going to admit what they did. But they're also going to tell you about the crimes these men committed, because they are the people who know best what was happening on the street. Snead implored jurors to be wary of such testimony, particularly if it comes from people hoping to see sentences reduced in exchange for their cooperation. They're trying to work on the back of telling Hankton to make a deal with the government, Snead said. They're going to try to sell you something so that the government will let them out of jail. Defense attorney also planned to use disgraced former NOPD detective Desmond Pratt in their effort to exonerate Hankton. Pratt, who is serving a 3-year prison term after a 2014 conviction of sexual battery and carnal knowledge of a juvenile, was a key figure linking Hankton to a handful of murders and shootings. But his allegedly dirty police work was has caused problems for prosecutors in both state and federal court, as some of the witnesses who worked with him later claimed Pratt coerced them to identify Hankton and family members as perpetrators of certain crimes. Pratt is the target of an ongoing Justice Department civil rights investigation, Privatera told Feldman in March, when the former detective invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and refused to testify at a Hankton pretrial hearing. New court documents show that Feldman on Monday granted a request by Hankton and ordered Pratt brought with the David Wade Correctional Center in Homer to be available for testimony in this trial. Okay. So, once again, it says right here in the write-up that it was people that the community, okay, and people trying to get out of jail that told on this man, okay. But then I checked the timeline of everything, and I said, oh, Lord, well, Alvin told me something, and now he did in 2013. And then they come bringing this man on something else 3 years later, and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, okay. And then 6 years later, three six sacrifices, these threes and these sixes, you know, the 13 people in the family. 13 represented the 13 bloodlines. That was a representation. So all of that was a sacrifice. Another sacrifice. Another sacrifice. And then because Alvin told, he already knew he was going to go, that was it. Because even though he may have died with what they, what was on his um, death certificate. I mean, I've heard that, sometimes they give you that while you're in it. They do you an easy E or something. But even with that being said, when he knew, it just made sense when he knew he was going to, die. And I'm like, oh my God. This is why he said he was not going down for nothing he didn't do. But he wasn't the only one. So when you break it down and count back, because I've been watching, sacrifices all kinds of ways. And whom does it all seem to benefit? See, I see it repetitively. It's just in my face. See, one live and one die. And then they switch places, because one gonna tell the other one what to do, and then when that one go with his move, that one know it's a sure way, but then that one gonna have to go, and it's trading places. So that is why, that is my request. Do not, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. I'm seeing this repetitively in the community, right now today. And it's so clear for me. That is why it's so clear for me, because I have lived this before. Spiritually, physically, had to deal with it mentally. And to see it so very clearly and vividly, repetitively, how? I couldn't make this up. So again, because now it all makes sense, we were just a pawn. It's just pawns. No matter what level you at, you start low and then it grows, but it never stops. That's why it pays to be an individual. That's why it pays to be able to stand on your own at some particular time. That's why it pays to know how to be alone sometimes. And it pays to pray and ask God, what is your purpose for being here? Because I promise you, I've been praying a long time, been saying stuff a very long time. And it all comes out in the wash. So I'm just making people aware of this. I'm trying to make it clear to the community that it is always someone who has gone, have played a part in supplying the community. They come get into trouble. They tell on the community. They make a deal. They pawn the community. Children, they pawn family members. It might be a swap. You don't kill him, let him go to jail, and then take him. And then after I bring it so many, then you let him out, and we gonna do a swap. And yeah, just deals, 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 deals. But I tell you what, that is what was spoken. That is what has been shown and proven. And again, I can't make any of this up. It's so much more. It's just so much more. But I'll leave you to ponder and to know, do not come for me nor mine. Because guess what? It doesn't pay to play. This is real life for me. Been doing this a very long time. I was forced. It wasn't choice. It was forced. Oh, but that's when I had to learn. I had to adapt, and that's why I was born a Capricorn, and that's why I'm ruled by Saturn, and that is the why. So until the next time, I'll leave you to ponder for whatever is laid on my heart by spirit. It is going to come to the surface. This is not to be played with. It's been going on for far too long. And I tried to play out offense, but sometimes you gotta stand 10 fingers and toes in defense. Y'all be blessed. Y'all like, subscribe, and share my video. Share, honey, I tell you. There should be a position in life such as the psychic detective. Because once you're in the energy and you know the real, and then spirit can show you from year after year and people after people and the whole group, honey, that is a gift that all the money in the world cannot buy. So I pray everyone finds out what their gifts and talents are. And please do not sell your soul. Please. Y'all have a good evening. And until the next time, because there will be a next time, y'all be safe. Thank y'all for listening. Again, I thank all of my ladies and my gents in that tarot world. Honey, y'all are my confirmation. I appreciate every last one of you. Mystic Beauty, Peppermint Tarot. Y'all don't know me, but I know you. And I thank you for allowing me in your energy. Peace, love, and blessings. Be safe.